Hello, everybody. Wow, this is a hot mic. Pretty good. I got everybody's attention real quick there.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks for joining us. We're going to have, I think, a fun one here. We're going to actually play some video for you, a little AI action. Quick introductions. I'm Alex Persky-Stern. I'm the CEO at Waymark. We're an AI video ad company. I'll talk plenty more about that, but we got Michael Guth here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Michael Guth, SVP of Growth for Spectrum Reach. Spectrum Reach is the advertising arm of Charter Communications, 36 states, 91 markets. We're going to talk a lot about creative, but it also matches hand in hand with the inventory that we have. In our markets, we're the largest traditional and streaming inventory provider. We've got incredible first-party data. And so the challenge always is, how do we match that inventory to those small, mid-sized businesses with the right kind of creative, which is what we're talking about today.
That is exactly what we're going to talk about today.
I'm going to totally sit down.
Yes. And are you all, everybody's able to hear us both okay? How's that
Good.
going? All right. Well, now that I've got your attention, I'm going to ask you to just wait for one moment while I go and grab the clicker.
It's right here. It's literally one moment.
Literally a moment. We are ready for you.
You want to manage expectations.
Exactly. All right. So I'll sit down with you. So what are we doing? Waymark AI Video, we're really the engine behind the TV ad industry. We are providing white labeled services to most of the major broadcast and cable groups. We have started really with spec. We've kind of have tried to meet the technology where it's at. And so we started with sales teams, would make spec videos for the prospective advertisers, use them to go capture attention and start to move business forward. And as the quality's gotten better, that started to move into creative production teams and full live air, and moving from local into more regional and larger advertisers, which is a little bit of a teaser of what we're going to be looking at today with some of the cinematic products. But Spectrum Reach, one of our earliest, best, most innovative partners, in fact, the very number one. And so want to just talk a little bit, Michael, about everything that we've done together.
Yeah, we, as I mentioned, the largest from an inventory standpoint in our marketplace. But television can be scary. And for small and mid-sized businesses, there's sort of a fear of, do I have the right creative? Do I have the right approach? Do I understand what it means to have an effective media campaign? And so philosophically, a lot of what we talk about is this simple question: is it simple? Does it work? Because at the end of the day, most small businesses just want to ring the register. They want to sort of make payroll. Creating a complicated advertising campaign is not their core skill set. So how can we simplify that across the way? So the first is you aggregate inventory. You make sure you have the right inventory. You have the ability to target in the right way. But the second challenge has historically been commercials. And so partnering with Waymark, it's really democratizing the creative process because of the ability and the technology that they have. It was as simple as an advertiser typing in their name, and about 3 to 5 minutes later, a commercial with voiceover since 2023 would come to life. So that was amazing. But as we sort of partnered together, that wasn't enough. I think the thing that you always like to say is we got to meet the customer where they are. And for us, the customer is not just that small business, but the ad salesperson who was having that conversation. And so what we started to do in the last 2 years is we have an in-house creative team called Kernel. It's our in-house agency. They do about 4,000 campaigns a year for our advertisers. And we have trained them in partnering with Waymark to create those commercials on spec for our sales team, our AEs, to go out into the marketplace prospectively to sort of say this is what is possible. And so that combination of democratization, that combination of meeting customers and consumers where they are, have led to tremendous results.
Tremendous results. Should we click to the next slide?
How tremendous?
Tremendous.
So look, in the last, since 2023, when we introduced, and we're really proud to introduce Waymark's new innovation with AI and voiceover for commercials, we've done over 15,000 commercials for our advertisers and tens of millions of dollars of revenue. It's not only brought television to life for small and mid-sized businesses, it's accelerated our sales process because it's made it easier for an advertiser to connect with the consumer through the power of video.
Yeah, and I think part of what we love most about doing this work, I think if you were at the last session, there's a ton of good thought going into how can AI impact the news, where do we have to be careful about the use of AI. In this case, it's really about just creating brand new opportunity for advertisers who weren't going to be able to get on there. Otherwise, it uses their real content. It's all net new, net positive. And so it's a as you're thinking about where AI can fit into the landscape, it's a really, just fresh new opportunity type of category.
For sure. And for us, part of it is what it is, which is creating easily accessible commercials that are of excellent quality. But the other part of it is it allows us to showcase innovation. And one of the things that's been cool, I mean, I think when we've done these sessions before, we like to say everybody sort of talks about the possibility of AI. We've been doing this for years, and we've really been bringing it to life, and we've been making it accessible. But that process allows us at Spectrum Reach to talk about innovation, and talk about the way that we want to think and imagine things along the way. And so when we first started, it was commercials without voiceover, all right? And then we've introduced voiceover, and as we continue to iterate as a group, and we test and learn. One of the nice things about having a partner in the world of innovation is really making sure you can iterate and learn and grow along the way. And I think a lot to be proud of.
Totally. So we have the scale, that's always the first place. But then the next thing for us is bringing that quality to the level of AI creative that can be produced. So for us, that's the title of the session, Cinematic AI. Waymark Cinematic has been the latest introduction in terms of a next level of creative. And I think we should start by just playing a video. We're always about show, don't tell, because there is so much noise in the space. You just got to see it. So I'm going to go ahead and play just a quick video. This is, if you can wrap your head around it, is a Waymark Cinematic video for Waymark Cinematic. So,
hi. You might think I'm real, but I'm not. The team at Waymark created me.
And you can too. No studio, just your vision and a few clicks.
We know that you have a story, but now you've got a crew.
there you go. Quick 30-second piece. Woo! Woo! Exactly. It is yeah, thank you. And it looks like it's all, of course, a high-level production. It looks like it's Hollywood studio, but it really is full AI. No shoot on site. It brings that level of quality, but it's also got that speed and scalability that's at the heart of everything that we've been doing.
What the good news is when you democratize creative, you make it accessible to more and more customers. The challenge then is they want more and more and more and more. It's sort of if you give a
mouse a cookie,
or right, it's I'm gonna say or moose a muffin, but there's a continual set of expectations, and we continue to sort of build and grow over time. So first it was commercials with just no voice, then it was voiceover. Now it's how can we make it like everybody else? And what's exciting to us is really the possibility to sort of explore and experiment what cinematic can do for us.
Yeah, and totally. And so what we wanted to talk about today is not just kind of in the abstract, but actually get into real client case study. I think when you look at a spot like that, Waymark is almost an easy product to do a cinematic commercial of because it's so abstract. You can just kind of have cool people doing cool things. Where the rubber really hits the road is when you've got real businesses who want their real brand represented. They have real content. And so we went ahead together and did a case study that we want to talk a little bit about today.
So, Fun Spot America. So if we go back about 6 weeks ago and Alex and I started talking about this event and talking about Waymark Cinematic, as Alex was saying, it's about show, don't tell. And so we said it would be great to actually put this thing through the paces and let's actually test it in the marketplace. So about 6 weeks ago, we reached out to one of our great partners, Fun Spot America. It's a regional theme park based in Florida and Atlanta. And we said, hey, we'd like to try this with you. Do you have a challenge that you'd want to see that we could potentially solve for? Not just create a commercial, but actually put it on air, use targeted media campaigns to grow your business. They said, funny enough, we're just about to launch our season pass campaign. We're just about to launch some things for Columbus Day. It's the beginning of September. I don't know if you're going to be able to do that with us. But if you're game, we're up for the challenge. And so I think within a week, maybe less than that in terms of the first conversation, we already had a spectacular, not just commercial, but a mix of commercials that created a really exciting campaign that our A's at Spectrum Reach could deliver a media campaign against. And it was really a combination of things, but it resulted in something that they were incredibly excited about, both the process of it, excited about the result of the campaign, of the creative itself. And as we'll talk later, excited about the results.
Yeah, so they had, they've done TV spots before. They weren't going to do a TV spot for this campaign because it was too quick turnaround. The one thing you need to know about Fun Spot America is in all of their commercials, they have their founder, CEO at the end who goes, "It's huge." So they had that concept that they wanted to bring into this spot, and it's a fun, goofy one. So let's press play.
The fun starts now. Buy your 2025 Fun Spot Season Pass and play through 2026. Free at all 3 parks. From mild to wild, we got you covered. Speaking of wild, all of 2026 is free when you buy your 2025 pass now. It's huge.
So yeah, there's your, it's huge at the end.
So I love it. Look, it was, before we get to results, it was an incredible process for a number of reasons. Responsive to a customer, it required a combination of the technology of Waymark, some of the work that they had done with our in-house agency Kernel for some of the content, required the media expertise along the way, and a back and forth conversation about how to guide the technology, how to guide sort of the systems to sort of optimize that campaign. The example of it's huge is not something that AI may or may not at that point, but as we sort of help teach and learn, we were able to sort of create a customized experience lightning fast.
Yep, totally. Yeah, there's a few things I really love about the spot. I think, first off, it's for everyone in a bunch of different ways. Very big, broad diversity of styles. When we make a Waymark spot, it's about trendy people doing trendy things. For a fun spot, that's not what they want. They want their actual park. They want their rides, and they want it to be fun. And, they're trying, it's in the name for a reason. So it's a whole different kind of style, but it's very, very adaptable. And also, this is not a huge national advertiser. They're a great regional advertiser, but it really is technology that's making it accessible for them to run campaigns that they weren't going to run otherwise. And it is about their brand. It's really hard to tell in that what's AI and what's not. What's actually happening behind the scenes there. They had some footage of their park that we get to use. They also have stills of their park. We can turn those stills into footage. And then there's fully AI generated content for the moments that they don't have footage for and that are telling the story that they want. So, if they want a big gator saying it's huge, you can generate that. They didn't have the footage. So mixing all of that together is part of where you really get something that, again, is real for a real brand, for a real campaign that they really run.
Yeah, I mean, 2 other things I'd say is, one of it also was, it was a brand spot, but it was a call to action. They had a specific intent in mind, which was to sell season passes, right? So we had a bar to set. The other thing that I think is really important, again, going back to the idea of showing innovation, it would be great to share the emails back and forth that we had with the head of FunSpot, the head of marketing, and the back and forth, because the process of engaging in this and understanding what AI can do, and not being separate from it, right, but actually enhancing the entire process was incredibly exciting. And so if it stopped here, we executed, we did it in a matter of days, got it on air in a matter of weeks, it would have been a success from a Spectrum Reach standpoint because it delivered against a relationship. The exciting part was sort of the other side of it.
Yeah, totally. So this campaign, if you were paying close attention to the end card, it's a campaign that runs through October 31st. So it's been running for the last couple of weeks. Still have a little bit of time to run. And the really, really fun part is the results that they've been seeing. So they literally just yesterday, because the results are currently streaming in, sent the results that they've seen so far. And it honestly blew our minds as well. They reported over 500% increase in the season pass sales, a very, very concrete, real life offline transaction.
And growing.
And growing, right. We're still a couple weeks of time before you get those final sales in the door. And then I think the qualitative speaks almost equally as much as the quantitative. They're just loving it. This is a campaign they weren't going to be able to run otherwise because they didn't have the time or the budget for this particular offer that they were running. So to be able to turn that around, get that on air, and then see these kinds of sales is just a real difference maker for their business.
And from our perspective, as I said at the beginning, this idea of is it simple, does it work? Right? And in this case, the simplicity is we have the inventory in the Florida market. We understand who they're trying to reach. We've worked with them for a number of years. And so the ability to target in a very precise way is one part of the equation, right? That's the simplicity. You have the massive inventory to sort of imagine success. But targeting and inventory is only as good as the quality of the creative. And the ability to sort of iterate and connect those two things together makes that if then, is it simple, does it work statement, really that much more powerful. And I think that iteration and that working through and that understanding and the fast engagement, look, not every campaign that we do for an advertiser gets 559%. But it's not that surprising that they did better than before because of the speed and the targeting, the combination of creative and media in really an integrated way.
Yeah. And I think you really start to see a little bit about what's possible on this next slide. After we made that first one, they said, oh, actually, we do have some other use cases. We have other channels.
Yeah.
We have other languages.
But they were so excited. They're like, this is great, but what about Spanish? What about vertical formats? What about this, and this? And, to be honest, I think it was within the day done.
Compra tu pase de temporada de FunSpot 2025 y juega hasta 2026. Gratis en los 3 parques. De suave hasta lo más salvaje. Lo tenemos todo.
Democratization, right, of creative. This is also demystifying it. We're allowing our partner to be involved in that process, to challenge us, and we're able to respond in unexpected and proactive ways, and really because of the partnership that we've had.
Yeah, and right, the two come together. You have the audience and the channel so that you can use this creative, and then you have the creative for the channels. So it really is about bringing that all together. And I think, this is one example. We didn't put all of the different variations on the slides and make you watch all of those, but there's all the different aspect ratios, the different lengths, the different languages can all be plugged out as soon as you've got that base anchor. So that's kind of the little taste of where this is really going.
Yeah, look, and again, a lot of where we're so excited. This is our sort of first. We sort of tested ourselves for this particular event to see what was possible, and we got it done, got it in air, and saw tremendous results. But it speaks to a larger opportunity from our perspective and the partnership with Waymark on an ongoing basis. And so many of the conferences and sessions that I attend over the last couple of years have been talking about the power of addressability, the power of targeting, the ability to sort of segment your audience in multiple ways across multiple markets. So it's hyper local, hyper focused. But if you have 3 commercials, you have 3 segments. You can slice and dice your audience, but if you don't have the creative to support it, and you don't have the creative to support against the right media schedule, you're not going to be successful. And things like Waymark in general from a partnership, but now with Waymark Cinematic, we're going to be able to sort of match at a hyper-local basis with multiple variations at scale for customers of all sizes at a level of quality that only continues to improve and enhance. And we fully expect to see exceptional results across the board, because when you have the right consumer and the right creative and the right media, you're going to have better results.
So I think so much of the conversation around AI so far has really been about replacement, things that were already happening. Like, can I make a spot faster and cheaper than I was before? But the whole campaign itself was something that wasn't going to happen. So at that level, it's already about new opportunity. But what's really starting to happen now, and that I think is so exciting, is it's stuff that was way beyond what we would have imagined, right? It's like, FunSpot's got 3 locations. That's a great place to start. What if we make something specific to each location? But then, sure, you've got your different languages. That's another great dimension. You can really start to push your thinking a little bit further once creative stops being a limitation. We were talking about, what if you're trying to get the grandparents to come take their grandkids? We could have a totally different spot that speaks to that kind of story versus parents, young kids, old kids.
And we could build a media campaign against each of those, instances, each of those use cases. The other thing that people talk a lot about is the concern about AI in developing creative as a threat to traditional creatives and traditional agencies. And as I mentioned, we have a robust award-winning in-house agency called Kernel, who already is providing creative in this particular case for FunSpot. But by bringing in new ways of approaching things and new ways of enhancing what we were already doing, it's actually strengthening the relationship that we have with FundSpot and with Kernel. Kernel was instrumental to this entire process, and this is an enabler. This is a catalyst. This is going to create more variations and more opportunities. It's not a replacement in that way, and we really see this as an exciting enhancement. And to be honest, as excited as Alex, as you and I were, as excited as the client was, I think the Kernel team, our creative team, is even more excited about what's possible.
Yeah, totally right. When you get real quality with real scale, you can get the accessibility through efficiency, but also the performance and just a whole new world of opportunity. So it's a ton of fun working with this stuff right now. I'm sure everybody's seeing some pieces in the news, but this is kind of how it comes together into something that's really practical for real businesses and real results.
Yeah, no, it's been great.
And that's it for our scheduled content. Thank you guys for watching a couple videos, hanging out with us. This has been great. We've got a couple minutes. If anybody does have any questions, we're happy to talk about all things AI video, whether it's a case study or otherwise.
Oh, great.
I think we even have a mic coming to you.
We got one over here too. If you want to come on up, and we can do
No, I have to do that in a month or two. I'm not looking forward to it. What would you say? So you showed your metrics as far as the engagement in the campaign for speed to market as well as the cost per the asset. How do you gauge that? You don't have to give true numbers, but do you kind of consider it 5x faster? Do you consider it 2x as cheap? What kind of metrics can you put on the speed and the cost?
Yeah, totally. To make a first draft, which, there's always a collaboration with the client like we were talking about, but 2 days. We'll get the assets and then we'll kind of turn them around based on one thing that's fun about this is you can really take all kinds of inputs. We have some people who have a full creative brief and, we can work with that. In this spot, it was like, you've got a Google Drive of assets and we've got a deal. Can you turn that into something?
Yeah.
And so it's, very flexible.
And in the existing Waymark relationship before Cinematic, what we'll do is we'll get a couple boxes of pizza, and we'll have our A's come into one of our offices across the country, have them bring in 2 advertisers as not prospects that they have in their mind. We'll teach them how to create a commercial. By the end of 2 slices of pizza, they've got a commercial, and they're sending out an email, and we're seeing incredible success from a conversion rate just over 2 slices. And so that's a level of speed, and it changes the whole equation in terms of how we think about it, both in terms of speed to market to get on air, but also as part of a sales enhancement along the way. So we look at it both ways.
Yeah, that's a great point. Just to be clear, Waymark.com, the kind of core product, 2 minutes. Cinematic, like we just watched, 2 days.
Great. We've got one more question over here.
Yep.
Hi, I was just wondering how you navigate copyright and plagiarism with your AI content.
Yeah, huge question. We work with...
Do you want to repeat it? Because I'm not sure if people can hear it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. If you couldn't hear the question, just asking about how you deal with copyright and making sure that everything is clear to air. Huge question. Our whole business is working, like I said, white labeled behind the scenes with a lot of the major publishers like Spectrum. So highly regulated. Got to make sure that's really, really tight. Our approach as an organization is we make sure that all the models that we use are fully licensed and we can fully indemnify both our partners and our clients for anything that we bring to the table, like fonts and music, or generate like assets and text. And then the client has to provide license to any assets that they bring to the table. So if they've got their own footage and imagery, they will sign off on, yes, I'm clear to use these.
Great. We've got another question in the back.
Hi, this is maybe a little bit related to that question, but talk a little bit about the relationship with and how it's changing your relationship with talent. With on-air talent that you might be using, have been using, looking forward. Obviously, you can get plenty of AI images, but what's the relationship with talent?
Yeah, for us, we've always been software behind the scenes, so you can upload your own footage of talent, but we're not out shooting. So it's really, for us, we don't have a direct relationship with talent. It's like continues to be software where you can bring footage of your own talent, or now, yeah, you can make an avatar that is based off of existing talent if you've got the rights. And, it's like we did a spot with Jake Paul. He was, it's his company, so he was fully licensed to do it, but we made an AI Jake Paul, never shot, and he just signed off on that because it's his own company. So kind of, the answer is kind of all of it. It's all possible now, but it still saves a lot of time on the shoots.
Any other questions?
I have one right back here. What type of advertisers are you most excited to bring this to the market for? Obviously, FunSpot was someone that you had a relationship with. It was a good opportunity that presented itself, but who are you excited to take this to market and show them these capabilities?
Yeah, it's a great question. What's interesting over the last couple of years is there's no perfect target. I think anybody who has had an interest in doing traditional media, whether it's streaming or otherwise, but had some apprehension, is a target. You know, I think in this particular case, we like FunSpot because if we could pull it together, it would be an interesting content spot to sort of share from a case study standpoint. But really, the magic of what Waymark has put together is it contextualizes the commercial for whatever the category can be. And so it really opens the lens up to just about any kind of an advertiser and any kind of category.
Yeah. Very, very broad.
Excellent. All right. I think we hit our mark.
Wonderful.
All right. Thank you all again. Really appreciate you hanging out, and we'll be around. Have a good one.
Thank you.